Hi class, this is Professor Smith. I'm going to be doing a movie on graphing a line through a given point, given the slope. In this example, we're asked to graph the line with slope -1/2, passing through the point -3, -4. There are 3 steps to graphing a line with slope and a point. The first step is to graph the point represented by the ordered pair. Step 2 is to express the slope as a ratio. Step 3 is to determine the rise and the run. I've captured the directions or the 3-step process here. Graph the point represented by the ordered pair. In our particular case, the ordered pair is -3, -4, so I'm going to use the pen tool to graph that ordered pair. I'm going to start at the origin. I'm going to go to the left 3, 1, 2, 3, and down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and click the pen tool to represent that point, -3, -4. Step 2 is to express the slope as a ratio, and our slope was given by -1/2. I'm going to go out to math type to show the different ways that we can rewrite the slope of -1/2. -1/2 can be written as -1 divided by 2. It can also be represented as 1 divided by -2. It can be also represented by -5 divided by 10, because 5 goes into itself one time. -1 time. 5 goes into -5, -1 time, and 5 goes into 10 2 times. It can be also expressed as 5 divided by a -10. We could continue this process and you would see that -1/2 has infinitely many representations. They're all equivalent, but they're different representations. I am going to use the representation that includes the second example, -1 divided by 2. I'm going to come back later and use the third example, 1 divided by -2. Starting with the first example, -1/2. Using the second representation of -1/2, we can use the formula that says that the rise is always going to be the numerator and the run is going to be the denominator. In our case, the rise is going to be -1. And the run is going to be 2. You can think of rise by remembering that an elevator rises up and down. And if you look at the axes for a coordinate plane, the y-axis is the one that rises. And rise and y they rhyme. The run then would be the x-axis. Now that we know the rise and run, we can now graph the line. I've opened up ALEKS. We have the point plotted, and now we're going to use our rise. Our rise was -1, and the question then becomes, how do you rise -1? Rising -1 really means to go down 1. So that would be down 1 from that point. And that's not going to give you your next point. That's just your GPS to direct you where to go. So I'm going to go down 1, and then the run was 2. So since it's a +2, you're going to go 2 to the right. 1, 2. Now I'm going to plot my point. I'm going to use the annotate tool just for you to see, again, that rising and running. That's representing going down 1, which I'll write as a -1. This represents going to the right 2 or running 2 to the right, which represents our run. Now we can graph the line now that we have the 2 points. So the first point is the ordered pair. The second point, you're using the rise and run as your GPS instructions to get the second point. I like to do the same problem, but now instead of using the first representation of -1 divided by 2, I'd like to now do 1 divided by -2. Now my rise is going to be +1, and my run is going to be -2. Using the pen tool, and I'll change my colors now. So now I'm going to start at the ordered pair, but instead of going down 1, I'm going to go up 1. Oh dearie, that's a pretty sorry looking arrow. And then I'll change it to green. And here I have a run of -2, so that means I'm going to move horizontally in the negative direction, which would be left. So I'm going to move -2. Let's see if I can get this a little bit better. Oh, look at that. That's beautiful. I want points. So then I would use the point tool on ALEKS to give me the point at this value here. It's actually represented at -5, -3. And you'll see that your line is going to go through the points, whether you pick the first representation, which gives us a point below our ordered pair, -3, -4, or if you pick the second representation. And similarly, if we did 5 over -10, we would still get a line that would go through -3, -4 with that slope of 1/2. Let me clear my drawings, draw that third point, and then draw the line. Up 1, to the left 2. Now you see the point. Now I have those 3 points. They all line up. So whether I pick one or the other, it doesn't matter. Now we're going to draw our line. So I'm going to select the line tool. Click on my ordered pair. Whether I click on the ordered pair that's above using the slope of 1 divided by -2, or this point where I use the slope of -1 divided by 2, either way I'm going to get the correct line. Let's check our work. And then we always like that little correct symbol. It makes us so happy. I hope this movie was very helpful for you. I'm going to do another example, so stay tuned for part 2.